It was a crisp spring morning. I came to visit my friend Nancy. She's a therapeutic riding instructor at a nearby barn. I noticed she was engaged in conversation with one of her colleagues when I got there. So I went over to her and just waited by the horse. I noticed in a tent, right in back of me, was a black and white mare. She was beautiful. I eagerly put my hand through the gate. Now I knew to be careful. She didn't. And she moved immediately to the other side of the paddock. Let out a sigh and relaxed against her pen. By that time, Nancy was available, and we talked about the recent farm news, as well as new horses in her program, and then more about horses, horses, horses. You guessed it, it's my favorite topic. I relaxed in the joy of talking with my friend Nancy and being around horses. It came time, though, that I needed to leave. I glanced back at the pen behind me, and the black and white mare had returned to my side on the other side of the fence. She was in a resting pose, and her eyes almost closed. I gently reached my hand through the fence and stroked her. She didn't budge. She was content. I spent a lot of time around horses, a lot of my lifetime. And I still forget sometimes their superpower of presence. And that I need to shift or regulate my emotions to be more calm and mindful in order to connect with them. Horses are the greatest teachers of connection in order to build relationships as a leader as well as a team member. There are 3 key lessons that horses can teach, and they are consideration, curiosity, and recreation or relaxation. So first, consideration involves the ability to oh yes, I get it now. The ability to respond to yours or others' needs in order to connect well. For the horse, an example of this is that mare who assessed her needs when she was uncomfortable with my overt attempt to touch her immediately when I saw her. She wasn't ready for that. And for humans, it's important to have that consideration for your associates. For instance, by empowering them with more responsibility so they maintain their value with your team. The second lesson, curiosity, is important to have the best match or to obtain the best match of and I will sing the rest of this because it'll bring it to obtain the best match within one's herd or team or within one's situation. For instance, if you've noticed horses, either in a pasture or if you're on top of their back, you best be careful They usually use curiosity by touching noses in order to get familiar with one another. And if they determine if they'd like to have that other as one of their herd mates or stable mates. If they do not, they can let out a big squeal and stomp their front foot, and you better be careful. They could even pin their ears back, bite the horse's rear butt. Not good. However, it is good for the horse to determine who is best for their herd or their match. For humans, curiosity is important and can be used as a tool, for instance, with assessments to determine best associate with best project or team. The third lesson of a horse is recreation or play. You see horses that play, for instance, out in a pasture. They could be running, playfully nipping each other. When they're doing this, they're building strong bonds. As for humans, play is essential to gain trust. For instance, how many of you have worked for companies where you have gone to business conferences where there's resorts and play? Give me a show of hands anywhere. Great. And how many of you who have been in Toastmasters for a while have gone over to Mr. Lovely Greg Williams' house for maybe a Christmas party or something like that? Yeah. And you're still coming back. That's a good sign. To summarize, to be a better leader or team member, it's important to connect. The horse can teach us that through consideration and to be able to respond to yourself and others' needs well, to have curiosity, to be able to match the other person for the best herd or team situation, or that last one I had just talked to you about was, I'm going to remember this one. Thank you. Play. Yeah. Hey, great. Audience participation with Renita. Thank you. Using play to build greater connections. As Sir Winston Churchill said, and I'll paraphrase, there's something about the outside of a horse that is good for the inside of a person. The next time you feel unsettled, that feeling in your stomach, when you fail to relate to that associate or business group, look to the horse for the answers. She has a lot of information to give you about connection. Mr. Toastmaster.